In this episode, you'll get a breakdown of the principle, end quote, the purpose of the pain was always to ready you, and how to see the meaning of heartbreak in your personal evolution. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping entrepreneurs be free from anxiety, stress, and tension through balancing emotions and consciousness expansion. Here's 3 things you'll learn today. Number 1, why pain is brought to you not as a curse, but as an opportunity. Number 2, how the crucible, intense suffering, prepares you for the spirit. Number 3, why spiritual change is irreversible once you have this realization. So, the purpose of the pain was always to ready you. I was watching a Jim Carrey short video last night, about 9 minutes, and one of his main points was that he doesn't know, he doesn't staple this thing to be true, this quote that I'm saying, but the fact is that in his life, he chooses to see the beauty, the opportunity, the power in transmuting unfortunate things and pain into a new lens. And that is a reoccurring theme in everyone and anyone who is living a good life. It's not that they don't have hard days, hard moments, tough thoughts, crushing events. It's that they do not let the things that they cannot control consume them and swallow them. You always have a choice in life, always. And that's what this quote is really about. The pain, it's readying you for what? Well, basically, as you go through life, you're going to be met with a lot of different variables, changes, and new forms of stimulus. Some are going to absolutely overload your nervous system. And through feeling your relationship, that conscious awareness of your heart, your gut, your mind, the thoughts that you're thinking, feeling everything, you're going to realize that sometimes you're living a life that is not right. Sometimes you're living a life which isn't true. Sometimes you have amazing days and you wonder, why were those days amazing when you look at the days which were hard and quote unquote bad? In the big picture, the bad days are not bad because they're preparing you for good days. But in the zoom picture, those bad days can be treacherous, but you have to do the work in unraveling and understanding the role that you play in the pain, right? Because that's kind of the quote, the purpose of the pain was always to ready you. When you look at it, this is intellectual, but it's not that hard. It can be practical too. It's realizing you do things. You think in a certain way. Your actions fuel your thinking. You feel certain emotions. If you run from those emotions, numb from those emotions, distract from those emotions, you don't get to process the root of that emotion. When you process the root of the emotion, it takes courage. It's hard. But that's where you get the harvest, because you can learn how that emotion was created. What was the process of alchemy going on in that moment? How's it all working? You seek to understand, not to be understood. So that is bringing us into the second part of the quote, how to see the meaning of heartbreak in your personal evolution. When you understand yourself, oftentimes that happens through things that you wouldn't necessarily want to happen. But the theme of the universe, it's like, oh, you didn't want this to happen, but it happened and now I'm a better person. And sure, you can't go back, but now you're a better person. You have to learn to see that the things that happen, heartbreak, for example, is happening for you. Being betrayed, being disrespected, being anything of that lower nature, when it happens to you, it's showing you, okay, you're needing change. And sometimes the way that the universe works is we have thick skulls, and it has to dish us up some real powerful juice, an event, a heartbreak, for us to realize, oh man, I was going the wrong way. I was going the complete wrong direction in my life, in the grander picture of what is true to my heart. And see, that part is kind of the hard part, because you go back to what I said about feeling those emotions. For you to know yourself, you have to feel yourself deeply, and that takes courage, and that's hard. I know I'm repeating that, but it's necessary to be said twice, because there are these paradoxical themes running in the background, and all we have to do is start to pay attention to the way that the universe works. Not gossiping, not distraction, but paying attention to the energy of the moment. You don't always need so many words. What you need to do is learn to listen to the silence, right? The music is good because there's pauses in between the notes. That's how you learn about life. That's how you get wise, and that's how you set yourself up and position yourself for a easier, not in the sense of laziness, but a easier, more enjoyable life. A life where you have your heart alive, where you can live every day and truly be grateful because you've put in the work and you've set yourself up with intention, not force. It takes strength to surrender, to learn, and when you learn, then you can have a real intention. If you skip the surrender and the learning, then you have a intention, you're probably just forcing. And that's why the universe makes things so hard, because we like to rush. We like to I don't mean to project that onto you. I'm not saying you like to rush, but in myself, in my past, even in my recent life, I've seen that ambition and what it can do and how it can cut you off from the source, which is love, which is understanding, which is compassion, which is seeing the bigger picture at play when it comes to how this world was made and what humans are and where we're going and how we're getting there and what we're creating and what our impact is on everything living and also not living. It's important because what I'm talking about here is basically how do you get through your own petty bullshit so that you can be a human who sees the truth. When you see the truth, then you can help create a world which is aligned with the essence of the intelligence which brought us all into existence. The game is that we are that intelligence. And for this entire thing to be fun, it has to be a sequential kind of evolution, if you will. Now, things can happen so fast where it feels like, oh, that wasn't evolution. But think about it like this. Before a seed can germinate and actually bear any form of growth, it has to sit in the dark soil for a while. And you can't kind of measure or choose necessarily how long that time is. But you will see when the seed germinates. And think of your spirit in that nature as well. Think of the fact that every single human, everything on this world is made from the same form of intelligence. That intelligence is running through you, although it may be dampened, darkened, or you're still that seed, which is just in the soil. The thing is, I wouldn't say you can necessarily accelerate, but what is real, what we're talking about, is the power to choose. We go back to the quote, the purpose of the pain was to ready you. See, you kind of do determine how long you stay in the darkness of the soil. Because when you begin to learn from the pain and let the pain ready you, then it shows the intelligence that you're ready to peek into the sun. You're ready to germinate. You're ready to grow. But you can't have any fruit until you kind of accept that there are foundational paradoxes that you can let guide you through life. No human has to tell you this. Just because I'm talking about it, doing my best to articulate things that many people don't take the time to articulate, that doesn't mean that you at all need what I'm saying to do the work. That is one of my cornerstones, and it will forever be a cornerstone. I'm not your authority. I love this work. And that's why I speak on it, because I know, I see what we can be. And if you resonate with these words, then that's not a coincidence. I'm putting in no effort whatsoever right now. This is my heart. This is who I am. This is why I came to this planet, this realm, to share something which, honestly, I don't even know why I am who I am. I just know who I am. You just kind of got to get with it on that level. So, point number one, why pain is brought to you not as a curse, but an opportunity. We already almost crushed this. Really, you are having to go through so much each day, whether it be providing for yourself practically food, water, electricity, shelter, caring for your family, committing to long hours, rigorous work, wherever you're at in your life, you can let your current stage, your current days, help chisel you into the man that you need, the man or woman that you know you need to be. Wherever you're at, even if you have a micromanaging boss, someone treating you with pettiness, that person is going to show you your own egotistical triggers, insecurities, and weaknesses. And every time that they act like that to you, they are giving you an opportunity to choose love, an opportunity to invite a better life for yourself. Because as you learn how to choose love and wisdom and intelligence in the moment when you are confronted with temptation to react mindlessly like a zombie, when you choose love, your heart changes, your cells change, and that creates a ripple. No one knows how the world was really made. So, how could we ever act that the power to choose doesn't also make the world? So, when you realize that this world is determined by each individual and how they choose to operate, because we are all one on the biggest picture level, when we zoom in, it is all determined to the micro moments. Are we going to react with pettiness and fear? Or do we choose? Do we let ourselves evolve and learn that we're not going to perpetuate the pain that we have felt so deeply? And it is only when you have the courage, the strength, the power to feel the pain so deeply that your heart gets iced over with love. Your heart changes, transforms, because you felt what you need to process and feel. And you'll continue to have moments, but that's for you because you see that. And non coincidentally, your entire life will get better. Your relationships, your body, your health, your family, your wealth, so on and so forth. But the thing is, it's not like you do the work once and you're done. And that's important to say. This is moment to moment living. And it's hard, but it's also beautiful. So, number 2, the crucible, intense suffering prepares you for the spirit. Think about it maybe like some form of a physical material. I don't know. I've never really tested this, but you hear it, right? It's an idea that coal compressed with pressure equals diamond, or iron sharpens iron. If you actually take a blacksmith and they're heating up the blade, you have to put that blade through the crucible of the fire to then be melded into such a beautiful shape, whatever it is that the instrument is needed to be. But that blacksmith has to put it through the crucible. Same thing for your spirit. Same thing for you to be the best human being you can possibly be. You got to be low. You got to be petty. You got to be down. When I say that, I am not whatsoever justifying it. I'm saying that you need to learn to forgive yourself. As you forgive yourself, you realize that the only way to write a new story is today, now, in the moment. And you realize that holding a grudge, that is actually keeping you a lower being. Funny enough, not forgiving yourself for your pettiness, your mistakes, your errors, is keeping you more likely to produce the thing which you do not want. So there is this, you see, the truth is full of paradox because that is the level of intelligence in which we have been created. So, of course, words, ideas, concepts, that is all language. That is not what we are. We're using it to communicate to each other, but we're all the same thing. What is going on if you really look at the bigger picture? I ask you this because it helps you shape yourself into a powerful being, because you realize that there's a game, and this game was and is profound. It's not something just shallow. It seems shallow when you get stuck in the shallow part of it. The me, the self-obsession, the material, just easy dopamine. But when you zoom out, let's look at point number 3, because that requires zooming out. The spiritual change, irreversible, once you have this realization. The realization is pretty much what I just said. When you have a realization that you and another are the same exact thing, it will not obsess you every moment. You won't be standing there like with that thought. You will feel separateness, but all simultaneously you will understand that you are not separate, because you'll feel the energy on such a level where it's so not necessarily familiar in a stale manner, but it's like you've remembered something that you forgot for millennia. And when you remember something that is so ancient, then it doesn't leave you. You will have moments where you are thinking in relationship to the ego, the identity, the separate part of you. And that can get very noisy and loud. Most people live in the chatter of the ego a long time. But we are coming to an age, this is to do with the fact that there are certain things you can't control nor predict. But consciousness is changing, and if you can see it, you can see it. And irreversible nature of consciousness understanding the level in which this game has been designed, it allows you to play better. You ever heard of this practically? It's like any time you could be in the NFL, a 4-10 team, and you're playing the champions, or you're playing the best team in the league. Sometimes they'll get crushed, but other times what they'll do, because that energy is raw, the lower team will bring themselves up because there's something about facing the best. So why I say that is, as you realize the level of intelligence in which we have all been created, it brings the best out of you. You start to realize, man, I'm so much deeper, so much more than I ever thought in the past. And that strengthens you, that invigorates power, strength, love, compassion, wisdom, intelligence, understanding. So the recap: pain is not brought to you as a curse, but an opportunity. The opportunity to appreciate what you've been given. If you resist the pain, you're trying to hold on to the energy rather than letting it go. You need to feel it to let it go. And a lot of us we don't want to feel because it's hard. But I encourage you, trust what you're feeling. How the crucible, which is intense suffering, prepares you for the spirit. It's that initiation of suffering which breaks your heart open. And that heartbreak makes you feel, which connects you to the depths of the soul and the spirit of life. This readiness, this connection, it allows you to pay attention and realize that the spirit was always there, just the paper itself rather than the colors on the paper. Now, 3, why spiritual change is irreversible once you have this realization. The destiny starts to guide you when you begin to feel deeply more and more. It's almost irreversible because you realize, you see, that feeling is what creates a beautiful life. Even if the feeling, it deepens, it manifests in ways you can't logically comprehend. Now, ultimately, you have the choice to move through the pain and learn, rather than create suffering. This commitment transforms your pain into a meaningful inspiration to be strong, not only for your own desires, but mainly for others. Now, thank you so much. New episodes out 10 a.m. Monday, Thursday, Eastern Time. I appreciate you. Share it with a friend. Have a wonderful day. I wrote the book. Check out the book. It's going to be in the description.